So once you're back in your business settings overview page, you're going to come up here to the business tools dots, and you're going to go down under where it says analyze and report to audience insights. Once you get here, it's going to ask you whether you want to start with an audience with everyone on Facebook or people connected to your page. And if you do this, say we click everyone on Facebook, all it's going to do is highlight this section. And if you click the other one for pages, it's going to highlight down here. So we're here in Audience Manager, and the location was already set to the United States. So what we're looking at is basically all the information Facebook has on people in the United States. And then they're divided up into these demographics, like age and gender, relationship status, education level, job title, and then we can even look at, say, page likes. What type of pages are they interested in? Where are most of them located within the United States and their activity? So here to the left, we have all these different things we can choose. So not just the location, but the age and the gender. We have interests, which we're going to plug in. Different connections, like say to your Facebook page. And here in advanced is where you can choose the language, relationship status, their education level, their job title if they have one, and just other cool things, right? If they're parents, their political views, and life events. So when we choose things here to the left, all this information then is going to show us data based on what we chose. So we're going to go over 3 examples that we're going to plug in into our test sheet. So let's go ahead and start. The first example, let's say we're selling fitness products. So the first interest we're looking for is something fitness related, right? So let's just type in physical fitness. We see that this is one that I actually put up. We're going to go ahead and just plug that in. Now what we can see here is that this automatically updated with all the info it has on people interested in this interest. So now the age and gender is 59% women, it's 41% men. We can see that their job titles, lots of them are located in the military. Many of them work in healthcare and medical services. And you can see all of them down here, but why don't we jump over here to page likes quick and see what people interested in physical fitness, what kind of page they likes. So we're just looking at this, we're going over this raw, and we can see that people interested in physical fitness really like Groupon and Shoe Dazzle. So if we were then in our detailed targeting, in our ad set, where we're actually going to plug this in when we make the ad, we could come over here and put in, say, Groupon, right? People who are interested in Groupon are also interested in physical fitness. So that could be one of those ways to connect to your ideal person. Now, not all of these, in my experience, have an actual, like an interest that you can put. Groupon has one. I don't think Planet Fitness, for example, does. So you're going to have to take and give with this. This is all for you to learn about your ideal customers, right? So we can see that many of the people, look, they're very spread out, right? They're out the United States, people who are interested in physical fitness. So 70 to 80 million people is a lot, right? But the truth is, when we actually get to using these targeting and demographics, we're going to see that number jump down, especially when we start narrowing our audience. So for example, people who are interested in physical fitness, let's say we also wanted them to have one of these job titles, right? What do they have again? So we have healthcare and services. So let's add that just by clicking on it, and it added this to our job title. So if we did this as an exclusion, this number will drop. We'll do that in the actual ad set. But back here to our task sheet, so here we go. Location, they're in the US. Looking at this age range, I can see that most of the people interested in these things and who have this job title are between ages 25 and 45. So I would come back here and we go 25 to 45. Gender, we're going to just put both, right? So interest, we had physical fitness in there. And then we wanted to narrow, again, say to healthcare and medical services as a job title. So relationships, we didn't use that. Education level, we didn't use it. Parents, we didn't use any of that. We didn't get any more specific with location either. No life events. So that's done. And we could just simply name this Fitness Audience Test 1. And now to the next example. Instead of clicking everyone on Facebook, let's just click people connected to your page. And as I said, it's just going to highlight that section. You'd click here, put in your page, and then you'd be able to see their demographics, page likes, location, and etc. So let's have a different example now. Let's say that you were doing business consulting, some type of service where you're just offering business a consultation to improve something that they're doing, their workflow. Maybe you're helping sell some kind of an app or a management software. So you're interested in, say, small businesses, right? You have something that they are very much interested in. They are most likely to need, right? So when we type this in, I always like to scroll down and look at these job titles. So we can see that people in small business also have these top job titles. Now, quickly, when you hover over one of these, you see the difference between of Facebook users and of selected audience. The bottom represents the job title in relationship to all Facebook's data, and then the top of selected audience shows the relationship of this title to what we just chose, which was small businesses. So 15% of Facebook users have a title in management, and 17% of them have this title within your interest, small business. So by looking at this, you may say, you know what? I think we could help people in every single one of these industries. So what you could do is when you come up here and we were typing in small business, if we were coming up here, this small business was probably located here in business and industry. And you see how they just have all these other businesses. You're like, we can help every single one of them. So what you could do is you could just add the entire section. And as you see, it says, do you want to change your interest targeting to business and industry, which is more general than small business? This will broaden your audience. So if we wanted that, we'd click OK. So when we look at the age and gender, we can see, generally speaking, the people we're looking for are between 25 and 54. So now back to our task, right? Age range, 25 to 54. Gender, right? We have both. And here we go. So we have small business, and we're just plugging this in. If you were going to narrow it, like we just did this one, it would be after the narrow field. Or if you wanted them just all together, people who have small business interest, and say we added then management, and we added, maybe floor manager, if that was just a little bit of a different variation, and etc. And we fill the rest of these out, and then we'd name it. So it could easily be Small Business Test 1. So now to the last example. We did both of these, so let's click out this time. Now let's say instead of being someone who's selling on a national level, you're selling locally. So instead of the United States, we'll go ahead and get rid of that. And now we're going to do, say, Buffalo, New York, which is a large city here in my state, New York. You see that Facebook has over 300,000 people that are connected to the location Buffalo, New York. Truth is, this number is actually probably higher than this because this is through the audience insights, and there's lots of other things that people do. They interact with local businesses. Their location targeting is on. They use Google Maps. They actually have a lot more data than what is just being displayed here. But the point is for you to then gather data on what they do have here, okay? So if you were running a local business in Buffalo for dentistry, I know that I'm obviously not going to want to be marketing to kids, right? And most of the people are probably older. So say the minimum age is 30. And maybe down here to advanced, we do a lot of, work for, you work at a dentistry, you say, hey, we do a lot of work for parents, right? They're like all parents, people who come in and they get their children done. So that may be something you want, right? You want parents within there. So as we can see here, this has now been cycled down to 50 to 60,000 people. And what are we doing? We're going to plug it into our task sheet. So, right, we said 30 to, 54? Or I think that was just actually up. That was just left open to 65 plus. Gender was both. Interest, we didn't actually use any interest or job titles. Relationships, maybe we have married in there. Education, Nothing. Parents, yes, right? We said that was a good one. And so on and so forth. Fill it out and make sure to name your audience. Now, once you have this filled out with how you want it, the goal is simply then when we get to our ad set level, that's going to look like this, and we're going to put in all this targeting. You're just literally pulling it out and putting it in. So if we were here, right, we'd exit this out and we'd go to Buffalo, New York. We put in the age group, right, which is 30 to 65 open. For detailed targeting, I think we had they were parents, right? That was in here. So parents and demographics, we're going to put that up. And if we wanted to exclude anyone or narrow the audience, we would also do that right here. So in connections type, that's if you wanted them who liked your page, friends of people who liked your page. These are also additional ways to look into to connect to your audience. So after you had that, you would go ahead, you would name your audience, and then you would save it. And believe it or not, you can actually do that here in the Audience Insights page. You could come up here, as you can see, this is connected to my ad account here, and I could literally come here and then save this audience. Now, I don't typically do it this way because, again, we want to also deal with those narrowing and excluding, or maybe I actually don't do it here, but you could if you wanted. You would name your audience, you'd save it, and that would show up just the same way in your ad set as we're actually creating the ad. You just click it and your targeting is good to go. So that covers this video on understanding your audiences, your relative sizes, how to use audience insights to gather those demographics that are going to connect you to your customers, right? Do you know your customers and clients? If you do, going through all those demographics and those detailed targeting should be so much easier for you because you know your ideal customer, and then it's just a matter of getting in there and plugging it in. And again, I hope you use the task sheet. If that helps you, you can find that. It's going to be downloadable, I'm sure, under this video. So once you've created your tasks, you are ready to keep moving forward.